Welcome to the latest edition of Millennial Boom with Diane Faith and Stanley Roberts, where almost no subject is off limits. Now, here are your hosts, Boomer Diane Faith and Millennial at Heart, Stanley Roberts. Where almost no subject is off limits. Now, here are your hosts, Boomer Diane Faith and Millennial at Heart, Stanley Roberts.
Well, just me right now. Trying to turn the volume down so we don't hear myself. What's happening? It's me. Just me. But we're back. And your mic is hot right now. So don't say anything you don't want us to hear. Welcome back. Hey, guys. It's just me tonight. I hope you don't mind just being me unless somebody wants to jump on here and join me. But if you do, let me know. I'll send you the link. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Number one, I'm reading the chat, so you can tell me, and I'll try to respond back as best I can. We won't be super long, but we will. What's up, Maverick? What's up, John? What's up, Brother Jones? Everybody that showed up today, we appreciate you popping in. If you haven't noticed, I posted something on Twitter a little bit earlier about somebody caught a 30-pound salmon. The problem is that in California right now, salmon season was canceled. So if you get caught with a salmon, it could cost you quite a bit of money. Now, to be fair, the guy said that he backed it up with people who said they knew it, that the fish it had got hooked and then broke the hook, but then died and washed ashore. Reading of your comments, maybe change YouTube accounts. I won't be able to read your stuff, but yeah, actually I can because I set it up a different way this time, Betty Veronica. So I actually can look at YouTube, and if you pop in here, I will definitely know you're here. If you get bored alone, I'll jump in with you. Well, John, you're always welcome to join in. I'll send you the link, and we can chit-chat about some random stuff. If I can remember how to do that, it's been a little bit, but hold on. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to post it. Last time I posted this up here, though, I'll send it to you privately because some hacker tried to get a hold of it and kept trying to enter our chat. And that's why you saw me last time. I was like, what is going on? So this person tried to insert something into the chat through the private chat, but it didn't work. So let me see. Where are you? John, I'll send you a little message real quick. I want to reply to you. You should get it. You'll probably see it. Everybody will probably see it. And then you can jump in if you want to. Jump in if you want to. No, oh, that's the wrong person. I'm about to send it to. Hold on. That's not right. Oh, see, I'm trying to do it by myself, and I got a whole bunch of windows popping open, but not what I want. So let's try this. Close again. All right. Anyway, let's try it this way because that's not working either. For some reason, something opened up on my chat, which doesn't allow me to close it. And I don't know how to close it. It's covering what I want to send. So let's just try this. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to send it to you again, but it was going to the wrong person. And the reply. And here we go. All right. So click that. Oh, that's not it either. Ah, Lord. Why can't things work when you want them to? Invite guests. Screen capture. John, right? Reply. No, see, it's like repeating itself all over again. Okay, got it at a time. And there it is. All right. So if you pop on, I'll pop you in, and or anybody else. So thank you. Nice sunset. It's that time of year where the sun is setting earlier, so you don't see it coming straight through the window. But yes, there is a nice sunset. We get those every around this time of the year. Then as time goes on, it gets darker and darker. And my goal is to one day make this into like a real actual studio, so we don't have to fight the sun. We don't have to fight Alexa. We don't have to fight anything other than just doing the podcast. So, and if you live in San Francisco or been paying attention to San Francisco, there's been a lot going on in different areas and stuff you see. Yeah, green screen would be good too, but you know what? The funny thing about green screen is that sometimes you'll see people's heads floating around in the green screen. I see you popped on, V. John. Right now your screen is black, so once you open up your window, or whatever, I can see you. You won't just pop on. I have to bring you on. But I have to see you first. Well, we do have curtains, but why enjoy that? Why get rid of that horrible view? Just because. Yes, there is a lot of crime and drugs. You know what's funny though? We drove. There you are. Hello, sir. There you are. Can you hear me?
I can.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Why can't I hear you?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Turn the volume up.
Can
you hear me
anybody
now?
else hear me?
Yeah,
I can
can't
hear you
though,
fine.
for some reason.
Yeah.
So I see your mic, but it's not coming through. And I'm trying to figure out why is that. Huh. I don't know. Geez, it's all over the off-circuit states. You know what's funny though? Can you hear me now? I mean, you can hear me, and I can see your audio. I got on headphones, so I can listen to your audio. But something I'm doing wrong, and I'm not surprised. I never have a good. Keep talking to me. Nope.
I would think this would work. Well, hold on.
No, I see your audio loud and clear. I see it, but I can't. It's not coming through the system, and this is why we got all this so we could hear it. And I still don't hear it. I guess that's something new I have to learn. It's funny how everything seems to work. Oh, everybody's can hear him but me. I love it.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
I
bet everybody else can hear me
try
now.
something different. All right. Everybody can hear you but me. So something I have is turned off. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Well, ladies and germs. Oh, so he's there, but it's not coming through my headphones. And I'm plugged in. The audio is on. Well, I'm
the full-time
trying.
producer.
It's a fail.
It's okay.
Let me see something. Go get the rich kid down the block. Text best. Yeah, I know. I wish I had a tech support guy so that I could have him come here and fix this right away. But don't leave yet, John. I got you here. I'm going to make this thing work. If that's the last thing I do, I'll cut my arms off before I leave this and it doesn't work. Because you're here. That's right. Let me make sure this is right. Edit name, remove guest. No. Your name is right. Share
There's
screen.
Gabe. Gabe, now you know what I look like.
Settings.
From Twitter.
Let's check the settings. Make sure we're. So, audio. Yep. General. Yep, that's all right. So I got everything right. Everything is right according to the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Everything. Except I can't hear you. What? Let me try unplugging the headphones. Oh, you know what? It could be a problem too. I just thought about this. I have the mic. No, that's turned all the way up too. All right, so let's try this. I'm going to turn up the volume on the. Turn the way up too. So, all right. So the problem is that now I can hear you. Talk again.
Yeah, you can probably hear me now, but it's going to come out your speaker, and then it's going to be.
So I can hear you in the
it's going to be a
headphones
distraction.
So you started hearing you. Say something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there. But why can't I turn up the volume on you? I can hear you now.
Okay, well, I think we're all good then. We just go.
All right.
Action. Yeah. I got you.
All right. Everybody can hear you but me. I can hear you, but not to the level that I want it to be. So
Oh, I see.
can
Well,
you?
maybe my audio is just too low or something.
Yeah,
No, it
your
looks.
output is real low.
Does everybody else hear me low, or do I need to turn
Hey,
it up?
producer Jace, pop on for a minute. Let me see. The link is in there. I got speaking about the producer down the block. Producer Jace is here. We're going to send him one too. Anyway, everybody can hear you. And but John,
Yeah.
producer Jace, can you help us figure out why I can't hear him?
My
I can
input
hear him.
volume set all the way up, and I have a nice. It looks like a good level on my screen.
Okay,
So I
I hear
think it's
you
okay
better
on my
now.
end.
So something on your end.
All right.
All right. So put the mic close to your mouth if you can.
Well, it's like literally right here. I can't get it
Okay.
much
Yeah,
closer.
there we go. So there we go. I can hear you now.
You
So
hear
hi
us both the
everybody. So I
same,
got
yeah.
here. I got John and producer Jace is going to try to jump on. We're going to get this thing working because we are rolling now. We're cooking with fire. Before we couldn't even hear anybody, but now I can start to hear. But I want to hear if Jace pops on, if his audio is low as well, or if it's just that way we know that it's not on my end, it's on your end. But how do we
Right.
fix it on your end to make it more? I doubt it. I doubt it. You usually have technical issues. Yeah, we do because I'm not. This podcast is not my cup of tea. But I like talking to all you guys. So I'm not. Give me a camera, give me some equipment, some sound equipment. I can make it sing. Put some lights up, action, kung
Yeah.
fu fighting, the whole 9 yards.
But having to troubleshoot it on the computer, that's a whole different deal.
But having to troubleshoot on a computer while you're live.
While you're live, that's really hard. Yeah.
That's even
So
hard.
somebody.
Like every mistake you make, it's on your end, Stanley. Thank you, Cyril Kimmel. Well, are you anyways to Jimmy Kimmel? Because maybe he can come fix it.
Well, somebody was asking who I am. So should I introduce myself?
Yes, introduce yourself. Everyone can hear you. So tell us who you are.
So my name's John. On Twitter, you can find me at VJon, VJON. And I live in San Francisco. I've been here 5 years, and I'm in my 50s now. And I guess locally, I'm known as a cranky old guy who's friends with Stanley online. And I probably am best known as a YIMBY. I do a lot of other things, and I work as a video editor and a motion graphic designer. So the frame Stanley has around his stream here is something
you built this Millennial Boom frame.
Yeah, I built that for him.
VJon, and it was a gift to us. And welcome, Jace. Hello.
Hello.
So we can hear Jace.
Hey, Jace.
I can hear you, and I can hear you.
All right. But for some reason, my audio is coming through low in my headsets.
Have you turned up the volume to your computer?
So I have a mixer, and I'm turn up the volume.
Output.
Are your headphones plugged into the mixer?
No, they're plugged into a sub mixer, which has the volume control.
Oh my goodness. There you go.
So it's kind of hard to explain, but there is a mixer plugged into a headphone mixer, and they're plugged in together. Ouch.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Question: do your headphones have a volume control on it?
No, there's no volume control on there. I wish.
There's no volume control on the mixer.
Connected to the actual. Something's not connected somewhere.
Your mixer doesn't have the headphone the headphone mixer doesn't have a separate volume control that's separate from the input or from the main.
Keep talking.
Like a monitor level.
Yeah, I have all that, and I have it turned to a decent level, but not too high.
Yeah.
And I'm checking.
Well, and you want to make sure you're not making it too hot for the computer.
They're not too high. And if you see here, I'm actually looking at it on YouTube, but that's a delay. So
right, that would be super annoying to try to listen to.
By the way, thank you
so we tried
for getting a hold of me to help out. I saw your message, but I was on the phone. But then Gabe.
Anyway, back to the salmon story.
Okay.
So the salmon was like this big.
Excuse me for 1 second, gentlemen. This is actually date night with my wife and I. So,
okay, then go have your date.
Oh yeah, this is not worth missing that.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that for this.
I'm sorry. You guys have a good night.
All right, good night. All right. Well, there we go. He missed it. Good night.
So
Date
what's
night.
the topic?
Can't miss date night. That's important.
What's the topic tonight, Stanley?
Well, the topic tonight is whatever we want to talk about. I don't have an actual topic. However, I am testing some some body cameras right now. So one I bought on my own, which the audio is terrible when you record it. You can hear it's overmodulated for me because I'm too close to it.
Yeah.
And the new one, the audio is perfect, but the design and the user interface was built by a 5-year-old, I think.
So you got two, but neither of them's right.
They spelled storage without an A. So it's compressed stowage.
Oh, yeah, the sirens are coming from me. I live in the Tenderloin, the famous neighborhood everybody knows about.
Oh, yeah, so I can't hear the sirens.
There's a lot of... Yeah, this microphone usually cuts them out because it's so close to my mouth, but sometimes you can hear me in the back.
So...
I saw your footage with that.
Right now, salmon is out of season, and it has been. They canceled the season last year. They canceled this year. So you technically... Well, not even technically. You're not supposed to be able to catch salmon at any way, shape, or form. When you catch one and Fish and Game catch you, it's a huge fine. But this guy claims it's a fish, and I wasn't there, so I didn't see it, but other people vouched for him, said that one guy hooked it, which you can't use barbed hooks to catch salmon. You have to use a regular hook so they can get away. So, Of course, people are fishing off the pier with barbed hooks because no one's expecting to catch a giant 30-pound salmon.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody catching a salmon off the pier in San Francisco.
Well, and I'm in Pacifica.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, is it? Are they common there? I mean, I know they live here, but
I've never seen this. This is the first time I've ever seen that big of a salmon. Well, that's the first time I've ever seen a salmon caught off the pier ever. But they do run. But this one was gargantuan. But what made it different was it had a tracker on it. How do you know it had a tracker? Because there were some surveyors from Fish and Game, and they said that they can tell from when the fish comes out, they cut off part of the fin when they first send them out, and that way they can keep track of if they can keep track of whether or not it's been tagged or not. So this one, the head was this big, literally. Wow. The head was this big, and it had the rolled snout. You know how the snout rolls after it's went up and done the spawning thing. Hey, looks, because fish they actually transform from like one way to a different way, and it's. So if you look at a salmon before they spawn, their face is normal, or I guess normal is not a good way to say it. But when they spawn and come back, for some reason their beak changes.
See it? I just typed salmon after spawning, and you see a picture pop up.
So it's a whole different thing. So you can't catch them. You have to throw them back if you catch one. You can catch them, but you have to throw them back. But this one, when I got over there, the dude was already cutting it open. And it was already gutted, and they claimed it was already dead. So, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know.
Well, dead fish doesn't bite your hook.
Well, exactly.
That sounds
they said it washed ashore
right there.
And they picked it up, and, they purposed it for themselves. Now, I want to tell you this. Had Fish and Game enforcement been there, it would have been a whole different ballgame because, as I told the guy, and I actually had video because I was testing the dash cam on the pier. So I actually talked to the guy. He was like, "Oh, yeah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Yeah, but Fish and Game's going to be like, if you tell the Fish and Game officer, I found it on the shore, that's like, oh, yeah, I found that gun over there. Not my gun. I just found it." You have to prove it. Luckily, some people vouched for him. So he had vouchers. Mm-hmm. But what made it interesting was they let him keep it. But if it had been the wardens or the fish or game officers, they would have confiscated it and they may have written a ticket. They may have not have. I don't know. But that was a huge salmon. That one, 30 pounds of salmon, that's a lot of salmon. And so if you watch my Twitter, I asked the surveyors from Fish and Game, how do you know it's tagged? And he said the tail, and there's a sensor or something in the beak. They call it a beak. And They put it in when it's a baby.
Like an air tag.
So
Or is it like a wireless
It's some
transmitter,
kind of
or is it
wireless
just
thing.
is it just like a chip, like they chip your dog?
Yeah, they
So
chip
that
it. They beak
you,
their
you
beak. So ironically, I wonder because I get Wi-Fi signals, 5G and regular Wi-Fi from Farallon Islands. So I wonder if they can tag those and see where they're going. But they said it's made so that they can. And then Surreal Camille, we're going to come back to you in a minute. I see what you've been posting. We'll talk about the autonomous cars. We'll talk about the stuff you filed against. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the autonomous cars because that's something to discuss. But it's crazy though that that fish was that big. It was about almost 3 feet tall. That's a lot of fish. That's a lot of salmon. So anyway, so let's switch over because John, you're in a Tenderloin area. You're in, I think, either Tenderloin or South Market, correct? Oh, your mic cut out. Yeah. Do you have? Are you ever like? Is your mic on the battery? Because I'm wondering if it's a low battery. Yep, your mic is out. Everybody's saying the same thing. So it is on your end. We lost your mic. How about now?
Okay, testing it now.
Oh, I'm hearing you a little bit.
Okay,
Can you
that's probably
your volume at all?
I plugged it in, so it's all the way up.
Okay, all right. I can hear you now again.
Yeah.
But your mic did go out for a minute. Even Dave Man confirmed that your mic was out. So we know it's on your end. We just got to figure out how to fix it next time. Anyway, back to the whole mic. Back to
driverless.
About Tenderloin. So you Tenderloin?
Oh, Tenderloin.
Okay,
Tenderloin. Yeah.
So there's the.
I'm on the edge of it. I'm between the two. The Market Street is a dividing line between the two. So where I live is called Central Market. It's basically in both the Tenderloin and South Market.
Got you. So TL, and they just unleashed a legion of autonomous vehicles that are, and speaking of autonomous vehicles, I think I was behind a guy today who was testing his Tesla on self-driving mode.
Oh, yeah, that's bad in the city. You shouldn't do that.
Well, in Pacifica, he was just driving along. There was no one in front of him, and I'm behind him, and his car just came to a stop. It just stopped, and I'm like, and so I waited for a few seconds, and then I had to blow my horn to get him to go. And then he kept stopping every few feet, every couple hundred yards. It would just come to a stop. It would slow down, and for no reason, no one in front of him, no one. I'm behind him. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So interestingly, getting back to the driverless vehicles, the northeast corner of the city are a blackout area for the driverless vehicles. They're not allowed to come here. So we don't actually even have them in this neighborhood.
Oh. Well, I know that some areas they block them out completely.
Yeah. And
for whatever reason, but and there's been a big discussion of who's at fault when they have these crashes and whatnot. And some people are defending them, some people are against them. What's your take on it?
Okay, my take is that if the city really has a case that they're causing a damage to someone, then the city should come to court and show that, and let's see all the evidence, because they're accusing someone that has 15 cameras attached to them of doing something, and if their story holds up, they can say that in court. They've got plenty of lawyers to make it happen, so I don't know what the problem is.
Do you think it has something to do with? Remember a while back when they first brought them in, they were using them as surveillance vehicles?
I don't know anything about that. I've never heard about that. The main thing I have to say is, it seems to me I'm pro autonomous vehicles, because I think there's a lot of political negativity about it in the city. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that has to do with unions having a lot of political power, and people being very nervous about AI is taking their jobs. But at a certain point, you're not going to stop progress. Like I'm sure people were, if you look historically, really annoyed with cars when they first came around. They were scaring all the horses or whatever. And I think that any little glitches that we have, there are bound to be glitches where they don't know what to do, and it's reasonable for the city to say, "Hey, you guys need to be on this. You need to give every cop should have a beeper where they go beep 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 beep, and it immediately says any driverless car within 150 or 300 yards of here needs to go to."
No, you might cut out again. So while you're trying to fix your mic, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
How about
All right,
now?
there you go. You're back. Welcome back.
That's so strange. Yeah. So I mean, I think that there's bound to be growing pains, but as far as I know, none of them have been in an injury accident. You know what I mean? Which is much more than you can say for the human drivers in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's pretty. So are we ever going to make it to like autonomous flying cars?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the physics of flying cars actually works. I think it's there's no way, not until we get massive, like what syngas is. Syngas is when you use electricity or something else to create basically gasoline out of atmospheric carbon. When you can do that, you might be able to have flying cars. But think about a helicopter. The only way to make a thing fly is to push a bunch of things down at the ground so that the thing goes up.
Helicopters are
Right.
supposed
So
to be able to fly.
you couldn't have. What would it be like if there were 100,000 helicopters landing in San Francisco all the time?
Well,
it would be awful.
Helicopters.
That's not going to happen.
Helicopters defeat everything about physics that we know to exist, because if you take off the tail rotor or have some kind of propulsion in the rear, that thing just spins around in circles and it can't. So it has to have something to stabilize it.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, this is my opinion before everybody gets all mad and then I get hit up by the helicopter union, they aren't supposed to fly. And you know that because the minute you take out one of the rear propeller or the rear, navigate thing, it's no longer functioning.
It's just fighting they're like, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. If the rotor's going this way, the body will slowly start to turn the other way, because even though it's
your mic. There you go.
How about now?
Yeah.
So that thing in the back is just keeping that from happening, and letting it turn. That's all it's doing. I mean,
so
I don't know.
I rented a chopper in Vegas once. I was like, I want to fly over Vegas because this is cool. Man, that was the scariest, I say 10 minutes of my life. Because I was like, okay, we ready to go back now. I did not like flying in a helicopter in over Vegas, because it's like we were turning to make these turns. I'm like, I feel like we're gonna fall out or something, It was.
I think once you had more than 1% of the vehicles in a city being flying, then it's going to be super noisy, and there's going to be a lot of wind blowing at the ground, because there's no other way to do it.
I always argue that we can't drive on the ground. Why are we going to be in the air?
Right.
I'm just saying, we can't drive on solid ground.
That's true.
So how the heck are we?
And you're gonna have 100,000 or multiple thousand-pound things flying around between buildings. That sounds awful.
And some people will be like, "Well, I'm not flying; I'm traveling." So you can't give me a ticket. Remember that? You know what I'm talking about.
No.
Sovereign citizens.
Oh God.
Can you imagine have a sovereign citizen flying around in the air? I'm not flying. I'm traveling. Yeah, we heard of airplanes, Gabriel. We're just talking about flying cars, which is a little different, because airplanes land at airports. Flying cars would be landing at like your garage. And if you don't know how to operate it, it could be in someone else's garage, but through the back door. So I don't like the idea. I mean, but I do like the autonomous cars. It's just weird seeing a car like in George Jetson days just driving down the street by itself. And then the other day I was watching a thing on social media where they had a pizza delivery autonomous vehicle. It was a regular car, and the regular car brought the guy a pizza. You had to put your phone number in the back by the door, and then the window rolled down and your pizza came out, or whatever you ordered came out from Domino's.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, but I just see it being a problem, because now the little robots that are riding around are being tipped over and all the goods are being taken out of it.
Yeah.
So the action was to build a way to make delivery, which takes away delivery people's jobs. But then delivery people complain that they're not getting enough money making deliveries. So people are actually finding these little carts, there's something in it, flip them over, it opens up, they crack it open and take all the goods out.
Yeah, I mean that's not. It's not actually anything bad about the robots.
No,
It's
it's
the
just the
people.
people.
The people are the problem. It's just like the trash cans. Every couple of years they have this big thing in San Francisco. What's wrong with these trash cans? Why don't we get these more like $50,000 trash cans that are automated and have solar power and crush the stuff? It's like you don't need a $50,000 trash can. You need to fix the people.
Yeah, I know. And I saw.
You know.
So here's a question I have for you. I saw another video where the trash truck came to take one of those trash cans and empty it out, but it grabbed it and pulled it up, and it was connected to a big slab of concrete that was saying that's where the garbage was down and below. And I think that was just a made up something, right? I mean, they're not.
Wait, what do you mean?
They literally, the trash can was here, but then it showed when they lifted up, there was a whole like subterranean.
Well, there's a whole like a tank of garbage underneath.
Yeah.
Under the sidewalk.
Is that real?
No, I don't think that's real.
Because I don't know what's real anymore.
That sounds fake to me. Yeah, that's true. I know what you mean. Sometimes you just don't know because they can do so much special effects and whatever on stuff.
I mean, you got talking dogs. You got cats sleeping with chickens. You got pictures of cats with chicken feet. I'm like, what? Don't we have something better to do than to make up stuff that don't exist? So here's a question I have for everybody, and I always had this question before. And I'm sorry I'm not reading all the chats because it's harder. It's, Diane's not here, so she's usually reading them and out loud, and I'm trying to play catch up. Hi, Anton. So everybody that's here, hi. Diane's not here today, but she'll hopefully be back next week. I posted a couple pictures a while back of my cheap version of a Photoshop of Godzilla coming out of the ocean. What would we do if a real Godzilla showed up one day? How would you react? How would you react? John, you first.
Well, first of all, it would be like for biologists, for zoologists or whatever, wouldn't that be the most incredible day on Earth? I mean, if I guess I don't believe that the Godzilla would be like, ooh, city, I'm going to go there. So they would I would just think that they'd kind of show up at a random place.
Do we kill it and eat it, or do we let it live?
Well, I mean, in every monster movie, even if the monster's good, they try to kill it, right? Like, I assume that's probably true. Like
Godzilla burgers
tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken. I can see it now. Save Godzilla! Don't let him become a burger.
You can feed a lot of people with the Godzilla.
Yeah, I guess that'll be.
I mean,
you just third world nations with Godzilla.
Can you imagine a God?
Oh, your mic went out again. That mic, we got to get you a new one.
It's the boom on this thing. Is it working now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, can you imagine how hard it would be to clean up a Godzilla? A dead Godzilla, like a bloody mess of dead Godzilla on the beach somewhere?
Anton said make a statue and post it in the city as an icon. No, because then somebody complained that he messed up someone else in the past, and because of his action in the past, he shouldn't get a statue in the present. So no, we're not going to do the Godzilla statue thing because it'll just somewhere down the line somebody will be like, well, he ate my uncle 200 years ago, and so Godzilla shouldn't have his own statue. So no statues. I'm going to pass on the statue part.
I think they'd try to lead it back out to the ocean.
No, come on. We're talking about them. We're not the brightest. There's a reason why. You ever notice that we're looking for intelligent life, but all the satellite dishes are pointing into space? Do you know why that is? Because we would not put him back out there. We would. You ever see people that killed like a 200-year-old lobster that's 50 pounds? Yeah, we found him. Like, dude lived until he found humans.
Right.
And then we killed him. We ate him. We ate the salmon that was not, a 230-pound salmon. Oh, can't let it get away. Got to eat it.
Actually, now that I think about it, it would really depend a lot just on where, like first of all, what country and how populated the area it showed up in was. Like those two, because if it came right up to a city in like a DGAF country, like where they don't really care about the environment, it'd be dead. They'd have the jets scrambled in 5 minutes. But if it came up in like, a country that had a lot of environmentalists and it was in an unpopulated place, it might last for a while. I don't know.
Is that your phone or my phone?
Not my phone. That chirping, that's you.
But I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, and it's not even here. All right, whatever. I give up. I hear it.
Unless you got a cricket in your house.
Yeah, I don't know. I had it, and I've turned off
the Dutch have the underground trash cans, Mike on says.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it is real somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe it's real. So
yeah, they would set the trash on fire. You're right. They would. I mean, exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah, they would. Well, they would either try to. I mean, let's be realistic. If let's keep with the Godzilla theme, but let's insert aliens, extraterrestrials. The first thing we do when we hear about it is, oh, we got to shoot out of the sky.
Yeah.
We got to dissect it to find out where it came from. We got to find out how old it is. We got to do carbon analysis to see if it's how old it is. We can't just let it be. And that's the reason why aliens already know that they can't come here, because the first thing we do is chop one up to see what it's made of.
Oh, even like when scientists find a new species.
Yeah, they want to chop it up.
The first thing they do is they kill it and make a specimen, right? So they can name it and get it named after them.
Yeah, we like a bad cat said, we come in peace, and then they said, but we leave in pieces. So if aliens were to come to Earth, they would just come in with guns ablazing because they already know we're going to try to eat them or cut them up or something, or try to figure out what the spaceship is. And we're so obsessed with Area 51. We're so obsessed with a light in the sky. If we see anything that's out of the ordinary, it's an alien. But you ever notice that every time we get video of something like Bigfoot, it's always blurry. We got like 900 megapixel cameras, but yet the spaceships, we can, they can shoot a satellite from space and shoot a dime on the ground and tell you what the date is on it. But the minute you shoot a spaceship, it's blurry. It's just a big blob.
Yeah.
I'm not, I was born at night, just not last night. And so it always makes me wonder why everything is always blurry, even though, my iPhone is so freaking, so many megapixels that, you can see a wart on, somebody's head 2 blocks away. So if you have a Godzilla one, people will complain it isn't a King Kong and will be out.
We're talking about the statue.
Oh, yeah. Well, were you really born at night, though? Yeah, I was born at night, just not last night. So there we go. It's an old phrase. It's not real. Doesn't mean I was born at night in real life. It just means that I'm not dumb. Right? All right. And in case you guys are just joining us, I have V. John, one of my guests today, who is the designer of Millennial Boom user interface you see. And it's on fleek. I love it. I mean, it's there. It's great. Thank you. I mean,
yeah, no problem.
And also, I'll put up a support this chat. People are going to click it. I know they are. They always click it, but they never really associate with it. And if you do, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, if you're on Twitter, you can't participate. You have, somebody want to know. And John, tell them who you are. Someone asked.
I'll do that again. Yeah. I'm just a guy that lives in San Francisco and is somewhat active, not really even that active on Twitter, and has met Stanley before.
Yes, we met. How did you become a fan of mine? If that's a good choice of words, is it better?
Well, I did know about you when you were on TV before.
Yeah.
I definitely remember that. And, I think we just started, we saw each other on Twitter and I just started talking to you every once in a while. And I think it just went from there.
So yesterday I went to an event in Yorkville, and I met a lady who was a TV engineer from New York. She heard me talk to someone, and she was, what do you call it, ear hustling? And excuse me, I'm just trying to fix something. She's ear hustling, and then she comes to me and she goes, "Oh, thank you, Dave, for the super chat. We appreciate it." So she's ear hustling, and so she comes over after the person I'm talking to, and she goes, "Oh, are you a winemaker?" And I said, "No, I do TV and things like that." She goes, "Oh, well, I do TV too." I said, "Well, good." She goes, "Well," I said, and I was talking about how some of my fans reacted a certain way. She goes, "Well, how did you have fans?" And I said, "Because I do." Well, I've never heard of you, so you clearly can't have fans because I've never heard of you. I'm like, there's people I've never heard of, but they got fans. I hear about people every day. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Somebody died. I'm like, who is that? Look it up. Oh my God, I know what they did. I just didn't know who they were. So, John, I've always appreciated your support. Even if I get it wrong, you still come back and tell me, hey, and you do it nicely.
I try, man. Twitter's hard that way. Being online is hard that way. It's easy to get negative. It's easy to become a troll without even realizing you're doing it. But I try to at least be courteous and avoid the ad hominem attacks, because I think that's what makes it not fun being online, is when people start attacking each other just for who they are, or for random stuff, as opposed to actually discussing things.
Oh, remember, it's X too, by the way. It's X.
No, it's not. I still call it Twitter. He can't. You know what? This is our community. Twitter is our community. He can't just buy it and change the name. I mean, he can, but we don't have to call it that anymore. He doesn't have to. I don't have to call it that any more than I call the Salesforce Tower the Salesforce Tower. I still call it the Trans Bay Tower, because that's what it actually is. I don't care who bought the naming rights.
So what do you call Candlestick Park? Well, it's gone now, but
well, I call it flattened.
What do you call the old AT&T park? The one that's what? I don't know.
Well, see, does anybody even know what it's called? Because it changes every couple of years, right? Like, I don't even know what it's currently called.
It's Oracle, right?
Is it?
I don't know.
Or is it something else? Is it like, I don't know, whatever?
Every couple months it changed. Remember
Pets.com.
I still have that sock puppet from Pets.com. Oh, you lost your mic again.
Dude, that's probably a collector's item.
I have it in the box. It's still
a Pets.com sock puppet is probably worth like $8,000 on eBay right now.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to put that up on there, because
it's like more expensive than a Beanie Baby.
Is it really?
I'm sure Beanie Babies aren't actually worth that much.
Well, I gotta find it in pack. So the original was pack.
Somebody look it up for us.
Yeah, somebody look up how much is a. I have a lot of things that are like hidden collectibles.
Oh yeah, it was Pac Bell Park, and then it was AT&T Park, because they bought Pac Bell.
And then SBC Park.
And then Pac Bell, then SBC, because SBC bought Pac Bell, and then AT&T bought SBC, and then they gave up the rights, right?
Yeah. So you heard that? I heard that Carl the Fog, as Bill Van Ram said, sold his naming rights now.
Carl the Fog sold his naming rights?
It's no longer Carl the Fog anymore. Now it's going to be formerly known as Carl the Fog. I'm kidding.
There's a Charmin Memorial Fog. Softer. It's soft and puffy.
Soft and gently. Yeah. Yeah. Soft and gently.
You know, people should just call it Giants Park.
Well, it is the San Francisco.
That's how, I mean, before they started naming stuff, that's how everybody did it.
Someone will complain, though, that there's a New York Giants, and then it's confusing. New York Giants.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, SF Giants, New York Giants, I don't know. Short-lived Monster Park. Yeah, remember that? But that was a Candlestick. Monster Park.
Monster Park. Oh, like Monster the drink?
No, actually, that's what makes it crazy. It's so much. This is when important for identification. It was Monster Cables.
Oh, okay. I thought, I never even thought of that. I was thinking, well, my second choice was, it was like Monster trucks.
Yeah. So it was Monster Park, and I thought it was Monster Drinks, because, they, 100% sugar, 2% drink. You ever looked at the ingredients on a Monster drink, the original?
Oh, man.
It's 108% of recommended daily amount of sugar. So if you drink one of those, you're done for the rest of the day.
It's sweeter than Coke, I would have guessed. It's really a lot of sugar.
I like them, but I don't like those. So what I do is I get the low carb one, and the low carb one is only 35, maybe 12 grams of sugar, I think, which is still sugar.
Jerry, go look it up. It's on Wikipedia. Go find out for us. He says it's maybe Monster, the job career site. I've never even heard of that.
You know why it was Monster Cable? Because I met the guy from Monster Cable. He lived not too far from the park, and he purchased the rights, the naming rights, because that's what, I met him and I said, dude, this guy's like a hidden secret billionaire who decided to do the naming rights for Monster Cable, because and if he finds something different, but what the guy told me was he drove around in a Rolls Royce, because I would meet him at the county fair every year. He would pull up his Rolls Royce in the county fair. And I said, dude, you own the naming rights? And he goes, yeah, Monster Cable. And I'll go, I always thought it was a drink. And I didn't think it was for job site. So the argument was that he used the cables to cable all the new cabling for the park to make sure that you got a good signal.
He did.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, that's interesting. So, okay, like as a video professional who deals with a lot of cables, my opinion of Monster Cables is that they're really overpriced.
You know, they were going like, remember you could buy one for $300?
I don't, but you know, the whole like gold plated blah 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 cable, most of it's
garbage.
You know,
because gold isn't a good conductor. I make it now and again. And we're going to put in a what do you call it? We're going to build a GoFundMe for your mic headset.
Yeah, the little arm must be acting funky. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so Bill Murray said Monster used to be on Valley Drive in Brisbane. And I bought into that, the whole gold tip, better audio. I'm like, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So
There's the thing, if it's digital, the interesting thing is if it's digital, there is literally no difference. If the signal works in digital, it is exactly the same signal as if it doesn't work.
Well, back then it was an analog, so I guess it worked.
In analog, it could be a little different, but it's not.
Because when I worked well, they said that you can get a longer signal with the gold ones because it can trap. So here's why I know that may be some truth to that. When I used to do news before I got on TV, I was an engineer. And we would come up to the ballpark the day of and run 1,000 feet of cable. And if you got more than 1,000 feet of cable, you would have degradation in the line on the way down because it didn't have enough strength to make it all the way through. So you had to put a kind of a repeater of some sort, something there to a booster to boost the signal. So we didn't do that. Then you would lose degradation down the line when it came to doing any kind of live shots, because the further down the line it would go, the less the signal could travel because it doesn't have enough strength to push it all the way through. And here's a better example for people who don't understand is the other day. So we brought Diane and I brought a little tiny microphone. When we did our podcast last week, we had these little mics. But to connect the mic, I had to take my outer case off to do it, which is annoying. You know that outer cases are annoying to take off. They're great to put on and keep you breaking your phone, but they're annoying to take off.
Yeah.
And so I went to Apple to try to find an extension that I can plug in to the back and run phantom power for about 2 inches, 3 inches, so I can plug in the microphone, which ran off of phantom power. But because the phone doesn't put out enough phantom power, it didn't make it to the end of the line. So I had to take it back.
Phantom power. So it's like a condenser mic or what?
They're wireless mics.
Like a Rode wireless, like clip-on mic, or
kind of like a clip-on mic, yes.
Yeah.
But when you plug it into the back with the extender from Apple, because Apple is so picky that if you don't have the right cable, it won't work. Which I think is kind of bad because.
Oh yeah, they don't even have it. You have to use a lightning adapter first of all. Yeah.
Right.
So they don't have a headphone jack.
So I had a lightning adapter, had a little square at the end, and you plug it in, and you get lightning, and then male and female. So the male went into the back of the phone, so I had to take the case off, and the female was a little square block where you plug it in. And I thought, oh my God, I fixed it. But then we plugged in to do a test. Guess what? It didn't work.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the whole thing with cables. When we run a cable for 1,000 feet, at some point there's degradation in the line, so you have to have a way
absolutely, yeah.
And people don't know that.
That's why they have those like XLR cables too,
yes.
like wait, I got one here.
I got one
kind
here
of
too.
cable. Yeah.
Yeah, like this.
So I got my it's funny, I got my little mixer here, but I'm not using it.
So here's the XLR cable. This is the female version because it has the holes here, and the male has the prongs. And you can tell a man designed it. What else would you have, male and female, right?
They're trying to get away. They're trying to call it plug and jack now, I think, is what they're trying to change the word to. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad to me, but whatever.
Yeah. So there you go with that one. The next thing I wanted to chat about was, and I had it in the top of my head, and then I lost it. So let's talk about something else, and I'll come back to it in a heartbeat.
Sure.
So how's it going in the Tenderloin right now?
Well, okay. The first thing I should say is everything you see online is real,
Okay.
but well, most of it, but and it really is that bad. But it's also a really nice area. Like there's so much good about the area too. So I wouldn't want people to think like, oh, this is just some horrible, horrible thing. No, it's worth saving. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of good stuff here, and the neighborhood has gone in waves. It's always been bad. There are certain things they've get out of control recently, but it's always been bad. When I moved to this neighborhood 15 years ago, the day I signed my lease, I got a knife pull on me
Ooh, sounds like
on
Camden.
Market Street. On Market Street, and it's fine because you know what I was paying 60% of the price for the same apartment in Noe Valley or whatever, right? So
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
funny though. What bugs me, and I get it. Everybody wants to talk about how bad the Tenderloin is, and then you got some people out there who claim they have PTSD from being in Tenderloin, but yet they're back there again. I mean, if you're suffering from I don't know how to say it right.
PTSD. Yeah. PTSD.
PTSD. You don't go back to the same area that caused you the stress. You try to get away from it.
But if you live there, you might. And the thing
Unless,
is, yeah.
Unless you pay for a GoFundMe to move you out, and then you still go back.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But I think there is definitely like a homeless industrial complex or whatever. But there's also a bitch about the Tenderloin complex.
I've been saying
that's real too. Like
I've been saying about the industrial complex for years, and I get told that I'm making up stuff, that I'm not telling the truth.
You know what? Hillary Ronan coined the term, as far as I can tell. You can find it on YouTube. There's a thing where Hillary Ronan's talking on YouTube, and like before she was a supervisor, so in like 2010 or 2012, she called it the homeless industrial complex, and she wasn't even using it as a negative term. She was like, "These are our people. That's what we got to build."
Do you remember?
She's kind of the architect of it. She was David Campos's chief of staff.
Remember about a month or two ago when I posted the video of the woman that I asked where was she from, and everybody lost their mind over it when she said that, and she said she was from San Francisco, and I said, "What school did you go to?" And her face went blank because she wasn't from San Francisco.
Yeah, they always lie. That's
Your mic.
Yeah, I totally know what you're saying. Like they always try to say they're from here, and then they use those numbers that they gather as if it's a fact. But the truth is, like, it's self-reported by the person. It's collected by another homeless person they pay to collect it, and then it's collected for a company or a nonprofit that gets more money based on, or can get more political clout based on the fact that more of them live here. And then they never compare those numbers to what's the percentage of them that are from Palo Alto, that live in Palo Alto. It's always like, oh, 70% of them are from here. Well, if you actually read it, it's 70% lived here for a year before they were homeless. But nobody ever says, oh, it's the same in Palo Alto. I bet if you ask in Palo Alto, it's, first of all, there's way fewer per capita, and probably a lot, you might have completely different numbers. It's even if it is 70% of them are from here, if 30% of our homeless people come from somewhere else, but other places it's 0%, because how many people are homeless and going to like Detroit to be homeless because it's cold, right? Like, it's the thing is, I think that they should be saying, no, they're not from here. And that's why this.
Your mic.
I was just saying, the last thing I said, I'll just repeat only that, was that if anything, we should be saying, hey, a lot of people do move here to be homeless. That's why the state and the federal government should give us more money to help them.
Well,
if we're spending all the money to fix it, then let's like actually look at the numbers and be real serious about it and say, hey, we want to help people. But they don't want to do that. They just think that the people who live here should just pay for it all.
So, is California as a rap getting a bad rap, or is it just certain areas in California?
The thing is, everywhere has problems.
Yeah. That's fact.
That's
fact. So switching gears, the next thing I want to talk to you about is I posted the other day. I did a video post about there's some turmoil over at 850 Bryant where they're attacking a judge because she put a drug dealer in jail and wouldn't let him out, and the DA's the public defender went ballistic and started yelling and screaming at the judge. And then they started removing any more court cases from that judge because the judge refused wouldn't go by what they wanted to do, which was let them free. What do you think about that? Did you know anything about it, or am
I vaguely remember hearing about that, and then there was also another one where Brooke Jenkins, the current district attorney, didn't want this other guy who was letting too many people out. She was trying to not put any cases to him. So I think that there's kind of maneuvering back and forth on that in both directions.
But it's crazy because to fix our problem, I'm not saying people need to go to jail, but some people do need to go to jail only because they're creating a atmosphere which we're trying to fix, and they're contributing to the atmosphere. But does jail fix it? I don't know. But if they can get rehab in jail, then maybe they can fix it. But I mean, the people who are in jail who are getting for selling drugs aren't going to be able to get rehab. They're just sellers.
It seems pretty clear to me that you can have too few people in jail. But you can also have too many. So, I think that we're a little bit too polarized on that now. I think really what we should be talking about is how do we make jail so that it is actually rehabilitative for people who are not completely lost and gone? How do we have there needs to be a middle thing that's not jail, because jail is going to really, really mess you up psychologically. But there may be middle things that are not jail, but they're still very restrictive, but also constructive. Like they remember when you were when you were young, they would say, we're going to send you to military academy. Whatever happened to military academy? Because there's a lot of kids around San Francisco that really like to play with guns.
What happened to Job Corps? And your mic is bad. I'll keep going like this because your mic.
I wouldn't mind sending those people to a military academy so they can go into the army and go play with their guns on somebody that we don't like.
You know what I thought? And I know I'm going to get heat for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I always get heat. I don't care. I just say it anyway. When I was a kid, I used to always, when I was a kid, but younger, like in my late 20s, 30s, my argument was that why don't we send all these people with guns to war? If we're going to have a war, then send them over to fight. Since they think they're good at shooting people, they're good. Here's your gun. Go over there and shoot them. And make sure you hold your gun sideways, though.
Now, historically, I think that was a typical way to do things, but I don't know. Maybe we think we're more enlightened now.
Well, I don't know. Boy, you got a lot of sirens out there, homie.
Oh man, this street, it's the main street, one of the main streets across Market on. So yeah, I'll close it off. Hold on.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But because I grew up in Philadelphia and Camden, and I'm used to sirens 24/7. It was always somebody getting and grew up in Philly and Camden. You guys are experiencing a short burst of what they deal with on a regular basis for years. So these areas, and back then it was heroin, methamphetamines, crack cocaine. It was a problem then, but they dealt with it differently because there was a war on drugs. And now all of a sudden, well, we need to be empathetic. I'm like, okay, so we have a war, but now we're empathetic. Maybe we should have an empathetic war.
Well, we at least need to have a Peace Corps on drugs.
Peace Corps.
Even if it's, what I mean, even if it's not a war. But the other thing that I want to say is people always say, oh, it was so bad in the 90s. We had the war on drugs and so many people got incarcerated. But then 2 tweets later, they'll be like, well, it's not that violent. It look how violent it was in the 90s. And it's like, okay, well, why wasn't it violent in the 2000s? Because everybody got to jail.
Let me take you back to they talk the 90s, right? Let me take you back to the 80s, where the 80s where people we called them bums, We called it, they were
Right.
bums. They weren't, you know, we pacify everything now. We have to give it a pretty name, So back then it was like you had crackheads, they were
Crackheads and bums.
huh?
Yeah. Crackheads and
And, yeah,
bums. That's
alcoholics
what
and
most people
crackheads.
called it.
And the alcoholics, because I grew up with a family where they would drink vodka like it was a bottle of water. And I've never seen that in my life where they would turn it up and you see the bubbles as they take a big gulp and then they'd pass it to the next person.
Yeah.
And or you got a $20 bag of weed and you sit around the corner smoking and somebody might lace it with angel dust, which was a problem back then, angel dust. And now it's
Was that real? I remember hearing about that when I was a kid,
very
but I
real.
never knew if it was
It was
real.
very real. Angel dust was actually, that's a nickname for it, but PCP is the same, another name for angel dust. So
Yeah. After, Jerry.
Yeah.
Just to answer your question on screen, Jerry. After.
So with angel dust or PCP, whatever, it gave people extra strength, they believed. And if somebody was high on angel dust, they would want to, they would fight the cops. And we started, and it's funny because let me explain something to people that they don't realize. When I grew up in Philadelphia and Camden, when the police were out there, they were proud to be law enforcement. They would have license plates that says Fraternal Order of Police. They would have little badges on the back of their car saying I'm a cop. They were like, and you knew, and nobody ever, they knew you were a cop. They respected the fact they were a cop. So when I moved to California in the 80s, the late 80s, my uncle was a Monterey County Sheriff Deputy. And I'm thinking, okay, well, he's going to be just like Philadelphia, So he gets dressed to go to work in Monterey and he puts on a jacket. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I have to cover my patch up. Why? Because they'll try to kill me if they know I'm a cop. I'm like, wait, what? So you can't.
Wow.
So the atmosphere in the late 80s
in Monterey,
he said that because
that's so weird.
No, keep in mind, Salinas, California. Do you know the history of Salinas?
No.
Salinas is one of the training grounds for norteños.
Oh.
So there's a lot of norteños in, and I'm saying it wrong probably, in the Salinas area. And it's always been that way. And even to this day, a lot of cops go there for training because they learn how to deal with some of the gang stuff. And gang stuff isn't as bad as it used to be. There used to be a time when it was so bad, if you walk down the street with the wrong outfit on, they shoot you. I mean, I played basketball with some Samoan gang members, some Latino gang members in Salinas. We played basketball, but we didn't never broke out to shooting each other, but there was a mutual respect for each other. So Salinas is the norteño training grounds, has been for years. And if people don't believe me, they can look it up. So he would wear a jacket to cover it so that no one would ever know that he was law enforcement. And just so people don't know this, I have a lot of family that are law enforcement. So if I disrespect law enforcement, I'm disrespecting my whole family. My uncle, I had an uncle who was Ernest Williams. If you look up at Google his name, he was the first black police chief for Trenton, New Jersey. So he passed away. May he rest in peace. I have another cousin who was a lieutenant for the military police for the U.S. Marines. Now, think of this. If you are in charge of the Marines as a police department, how tough you got to be? Because you're dealing with Marines. That's all they want to do is fight and kill people.
Right.
Another one of my relatives was he's Secret Service. Can't go into details, but he's still working. He was protective detail in Secret Service. I'm not going to go into details of who he protected, but he was there, and he may have retired by now. I have a nephew who is a detective in the South. And yeah, you're right. I get kicked off of jury duties on a regular basis because there's so many people that are associated in my family that are law enforcement. And once they check me out, I get kicked out. I even tried. I tried so hard to be on a case. I mean, I'm really don't. I just want to hear the facts on the case. But once they hear my background, I get kicked out. I've never sat on one jury trial, and I've been called for jury like about a dozen times. Arizona, the Bay Area, but I always get kicked off because of my background. And I don't want to lie and be like, no, I don't know anybody, because then it'll come out later that, oh, well, your uncle this, your uncle that. And there's so many ties. It's such a small world we live in that a small case you think is not going to come back. It's not going to, turns out that it's associated with someone down the line. oops, and then you didn't reveal that. So you have to reveal everything. And it's weird because when I reveal everything to them, they're like, yeah, I think you're just doing this to get out of the case. Okay, well, do the background check. You'll see. But I always get jury duty, but I never show up. I never get picked. Even Wagstaff. I was the last guy, and it was like, oh, hey, Stanley. No, goodbye. So go ahead. You were about to say something?
I don't remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. So going back to law enforcement and my uncle in Monterey and whatnot, there was no respect for law enforcement back in the 80s. And I watched it slowly deteriorate as we go on down. And now the bad guys are the good guys. And I'm not saying all the cops are the good guys, but the cops are supposed to be the good guys. But now they're considered the bad guys. So every time a cop wants to do something, there's people with cameras standing around waiting for them to do something wrong. I showed a video the other day that I posted yesterday, I think it was on Twitter, where there was a London cop that was in a fight with someone. They don't have guns unless you bring in a SWAT team. So he's in a fight with a guy, and the guy is running down the street. I'm thinking, oh, he's coming to help this cop. Bless his heart. He runs right up to him and stands over and then pulls his phone out. And you see him open up his phone and start recording. And I'm like,
I saw that post. I saw that post that you put up.
And the bad part is, we as humans, the first thing people are saying is, oh, this is staged. Because everything now on the internet has been staged. Now, here's a good way to tell. You know how you see these plane videos where people are like acting a fool on a plane? Pay attention to the background. Why do I say that? Because the ones that are staged, number one, all the windows are always closed. The windows, so you don't have extra light coming in, they are always closed. So you can go and do those on one of those fake airplanes somewhere and shoot a whole thing like it's going on. It looks real, but if you notice, all the windows are closed. Now, does that mean that it's fake? It's a 99% chance it is. Because number one, there's a camera perfectly positioned to show the two people on both rows. That's pretty. The rarity. I fly a lot, and I've never run into a case where there's so much going on in this little spot. I just have to hold the camera and wait for it to happen.
You're not bumping anybody. Yeah, it's a terrible place to shoot. And when the windows are closed, that's when the plane's in like low light mode.
Right. So
it would be all grainy and all messed up.
Right. So I look at the videos for what they're worth. And when I see a bunch of footage of a plane and an argument, now don't get me wrong, there have been some cases where they're actually legit, where the cops come on and take people off the plane. The woman who saw the aliens or whatever she saw, that was probably real. But then the ones where like the kid's kicking the seat and the man's like, can you stop your kid? The woman goes off. All the curtains are closed. I'm like, what are the odds that the curtains were closed on every single seat to shoot that video? So it's you have to, and we're so gullible as humans. We are so gullible that we'll post something, and even I get caught sometimes. Like, wait a minute, so that's fake? I got some guy posted something on Facebook, and I trusted his account. I really trusted his account, so I shared it, and it was wrong. And so Facebook came, and what I did was say, "Hey, well, this is crazy," but guess who got dinged for it? Not the guy who posted it.
Yep,
they dinged me.
It's the same thing with me. There's a few people on Facebook that or on Twitter that I agree with probably 80% of the time. But even if they post something really good now, I will not repost it because I've been burned a few times from that person posting something that was
fake,
clearly not right.
Yep. And there's a lot of people that's all they do is post fake stuff. Or someone, the other day, someone called me.
And they don't take it down later. That's what pisses me off. If they say, "Hey, oh, you got me. That was wrong. I should have checked it." That's fine. Yeah. But it's like, no, you were doing that on purpose, hoping that people spread it and it wouldn't get traced back to you. And when I get used that way, I'm just like, nope, I'm not your ally anymore. You are a user, and that's not right.
Well, and you've seen, I've posted some stuff every now. I posted a couple of things and I go, and somebody goes, "No, this is fake." And I'll go back and double research it. And I found out, oh shit, it is fake. So then I'll take it down. Yep. And I've even apologized once. Hey, that's not me. I'm sorry. I apologize. Because sometimes I have people that I trust. I really do trust them when they post stuff. But every now and then I get burned because it looks legit. It sounds legit, but then you turned out that it was either. And one of the things that gets me is sometimes we'll post a lot of things you see now that are being circulated happened 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And they're being
There's no
circulated like
date on the video, right?
and they purposely take out the timestamp so that you think it happened yesterday. And the average person does not pay attention to details. So, like Bill Van Ram says, trust but verify. But in this world of hurry up and get it out there and be the first, we tend to want to and now that Twitter, whatever you want to call it, formerly known as Twitter, X, blah, blah, blah. Now that they're paying people to do it, it's going to be so much more of that. Because all they want, and someone the other day called me a rage farmer, which is like, I'm the farthest from a rage farmer there is. My whole thing is I'm not trying to enrage people. And what bugs me is that there's a lot of footage that's out there that gets ignored. It gets ignored. Or even worse, you post something like me, I'll post something and it's like I'm breaking a story and then nothing, crickets, right? Then 3 days later, another station posts does the same story that they saw me do. I know they did it because they follow me. And all of a sudden the story's out like they just, oh, look what I found.
Yeah.
So that's why people go, why'd you put watermarks on stuff now? Because people are taking your content and claiming it as their own. Now, if you post on TikTok, I don't always tag it because you have all that burned in already. You can see that it came from TikTok. You can see that it came from Instagram. But what people are doing is, and they're even with my videos, they're taking my videos and they're blurring over the watermarks.
Oh, man.
Or they're putting their graphics over the watermark so you can't see it. So now on a lot of my footage, I have an embedded watermark that you can't see.
Now, Twitter also has that weird thing where you can share it, but it doesn't actually include them in it, or like when you share a video sometimes. That's weird.
No,
because in other things it embeds it within a thing, and you can see who the original poster was.
So here's the catch with that one. If you look at the very bottom of the page, the name of the person who originally posted is there.
The OP is there. Okay.
The OP, it's right. If you look at the video, so because it has on their share video. So if you click
but their framing language isn't there.
Their framing language is not.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I tell people, if you look at the very bottom, the name is there, and you click the name, it shows up the original, the OP.
Right.
And I do that too because sometimes, and here's why I do that. Sometimes people post. I don't do politics. You know me already.
You don't want their baggage on the video when you share.
I don't want their baggage because people get us. We're like squirrels, like a dog hunting squirrel. Squirrel. So they'll read their comment, which will be totally benign to what I want to say. And then they'll take that, and I'm going to use the word benign probably incorrectly, but they'll take that and they'll focus on that only and not what I wrote. So I'll put HT, which means hats off to whoever wrote it. But if it's already embedded down there on the bottom and the average person can click it, but a lot of people don't know to do that. So they think that it's your video. And I'm like, it's not my video. Why'd you post it? Because I'm sharing it, but I didn't.
It's the HT is built in. You're right. It is there. It's just a little bit tricky.
It's just tricky. So it's there, and if you know how to look for it, you can find it. But my problem is like the minute you say Dems or the Republicans or red or blue or anything associated with politics, I don't want to enhance that. I have a huge following, and I don't want to enhance. Because I don't know if it's because when they say like people go, oh, well, we never have this problem in the red states, which is not true because Texas has their share of problems as well.
Yeah.
Everybody has a problem. It's just that we want to be so political, and I don't think we should be politically charged for anything. I think we should be as human beings try to figure out how we can fix this and not make it political. If we stop making it political, we can fix a whole lot of things.
That's right. I agree. I don't understand how is. Well, and this is going to be political. I'm sure there are people here who disagree with me, but I don't understand. Like with every other industrialized country in the world has universal or near universal health care. Why is that? I don't understand why that's political. I can
tell you why.
I mean, I think I can tell us why too, but go ahead. Yeah.
It's money.
It's money. Yeah. It's
everything in America is about money. Everything in America is about money. And the people who are billionaires, they want to be bigger billionaires. Now they're in a race to see who can have more billions. The poor
But
people
it's
are
not
trying.
just the billion. It's not just the
No,
billionaires,
no, it's
because
not.
in England, you can't go into a surgeon specialty and make $600,000 a year. You if you're a doctor, you get a couple $100,000 a year, and that's how it is,
That's how it
or
is.
whatever. It's not just like everybody's like, oh, it's the pharmaceutical companies and the this and the that. And no, and the insurance companies. So it's also the hospital groups and the nurses union and the doctors union and the medical groups, and
So,
it's all of it. It's all
so
of it.
I went to Hawaii in July. In February, and we had some passes to get there. So, we were able to fly on the passes because Diane had like frequent flyer miles with. So we got there, and I'm in there, and I'm like, Honolulu, never been in before in my life, and I get a kidney stone. Day 3 of my trip, kidney stone. So I go to the local hospital to get treated. How much do you think? Now I was only now here we go to the hospital at 9:00 in the morning. You get out at 9:00 at night, right? Because
Yeah.
they get you in there and you're waiting in emergency and you're sitting there all day. And then you're like, and if you ever have a patient come in, you can't, now it's going to push back further. I was there for 3 hours, 3 hours total. But how much you think that they did a CT scan and they told me what it was. That was it.
CT scan's probably $10,000, and talking to you is probably $4,000, so $15,000.
So just to be there talking to him cost me $7,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Not including the CT scan. And then when I had my stroke back in maybe 8 years ago or whatever it was, I wrote an article, what I call walk-by doctors. What's a walk-by doctor?
Yeah, somebody else takes care of you. The doctor comes by for 30 seconds.
No, not even that. This guy walks by your room and then put your name down as though I saw him. And then you get a bill from this doctor you never saw before. Like, who the hell are you? Thank you for the big bucks. Thank you for 99 cents, big bucks, Brad. Yeah, so it's like, and when I had my stroke, the American Red Cross asked me, American Cancer Society said, hey, I'm gonna write an article about my experience, right? I wrote this really nice article about my experience, and I gave it to them, and they rejected it. You know why they rejected it?
Ooh, because they're run by doctors or something, or
they did not want people to know how much it costs to have a stroke. They were afraid that if they found out how much it costs, that they wouldn't show up to get a stroke.
They won't go up to the hospital. Yeah, that kind of stuff you do have to be careful about when you're in mass media, right? Like,
yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
3 days in the hospital, $150,000.
Oh my God!
I got hit with the bill for $22,000. Insurance covered the rest.
Yeah.
I'm already having a stroke. I really can't. I can barely function. They sent a private nurse to my house who I had to kick out because she was more worried about if there were cameras to put her on TV. Yeah, she was more worried about. She knew who I was, and she started talking about, well, where are the cameras at? I want to be on your show. So I was like, no more. She can't be here anymore. So I just had to do my own rehabilitation because I couldn't do rehabilitation like a normal person because they were worried about where the cameras were and whether or not I was going to put them on TV. And I was worried about my personal information being put out there, despite HIPAA. Besides HIPAA, or HIPAA, whatever they call it, I don't trust people when it comes to my information being put out there. If I want to put it out there, it's on me. If I do it myself, then fine. It's my information. But when you come to my house and say, oh, well, where's the cameras? Then it makes me uncomfortable. Because now I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to address something that Gabriel put in there.
Go ahead.
Which is in 2020.
Oh, your mic went out again.
Gabriel said in 2021 he fractured his foot. He went for 3 hours. He got diagnosed in a boot, and the insurance paid for 100% of it. But Gabriel, first of all, for that to happen, you have to have solid gold good insurance, because most people have a copay and a deductible. And so your parents probably had good insurance when that happened.
Parents insurance, yes.
Yeah. And number two, you don't know, because what can happen is you'll get a doctor who's out of network, and all of a sudden they'll refuse to cover it. Like, weird random stuff happens to people. You were lucky that happened. One, because you were so well covered, and two, because just chance. It's 100% just chance.
It's crazy, and it's bizarre, crazy, and keep in mind that the insurance companies, they're charging you extra for the people who don't have insurance. And it's just like churches. If churches get all this money and they build a new church and a better church. And like this one preacher, Reverend Price, I think his name was, said that Jesus wasn't poor, so I should have a Rolls Royce too. And I'm like, so it's all about money. It goes back to what we started in the beginning. It's all about money. And why cure something when you make more money treating it? So and here we're in a rat race to get see a doctor. When I say a rat race, because they get you in there, they sit you down, they run you in the back, they check your blood pressure, they weigh you. The doctor comes in for 4 minutes. You're in there for 20 minutes, but you see a doctor for 4 minutes. And the 4 minutes you're in there is like, okay, what's wrong with you? How you doing? Let me give you. And then everything. You ever watch TV out here now? We are so inundated with prescription pills. There's a pill for everything. Do you have OCD, OD, FOMLK? Do you have GBS, FMTLP? And then the side effects for the pills are worse than the actual disease. May cause heart failure.
I don't know, man. They can be, but there's a lot of good pills out there too.
Well, the one good pill they took off the market.
I'm afraid to ask, but okay.
No, Vicodin.
Oh, they don't have Vicodin anymore because it was
because you know what I don't understand. Explain this to me. Maybe you can. And we got to wrap this up pretty soon. Explain this to me. Why are the pharmacies being sued for giving out Vicodin when the prescriptions are written by doctors?
Yeah, that was a little weird to me too. The whole opium lawsuit thing where they're suing the Walgreens and they're suing the Sacklers and the company that came out with it. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the day I went to the pharmacy.
I think part of that is because they should have statistically known when this one doctor was giving 50,000 prescriptions to the same drug that the doctor should have known it's fake, but they should have known it's fake too.
But I mean, I'm thinking to myself, this is my theory. I'm like, well, I mean, do people just go in and go, hey, yeah, let me get a whole case of the Vicodin because my toe hurts, and they go, oh, sure, Frank, here's your Vicodin, but I can't go in there and get a prescription for a Vicodin and OxyContin. They have the same thing. So in Arizona, you can't get Vicodin. They will not prescribe it to you at all. They have a thing with the hospitals now that they will not issue you Vicodin. They will give you something up to it, but not add it. So Norco is one they give, but very sparingly. So the nearest thing you get now is like aspirin. So
Vicodin specifically it's Advil plus some opiate painkiller like Percocet or something, right?
Yeah, hydrocortisone and
it's hydrocodone and Advil.
Thank you. Hydrocodone and acetaminophen.
Yeah, and it's the reason they came out with it originally was so you wouldn't abuse it, because the acetaminophen will actually mess up your liver before if you take too much of it. So that was kind of why they came out with that in the first place.
Yeah.
Somebody asked
Hold on 1 second. Jerry Go Nuts has to leave soon. Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We're going to wrap this up pretty soon too, but this is a good conversation.
Yeah. By the way, my address on Twitter is @VJON. It's just my name with a V in front of it, John.
Tell him Stanley sent you.
Yeah, tell me Stanley sent you. Yeah.
I just never understood that. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, according to the shows we watch, which are they're clearly doctored so that it's more and more salacious. So we don't know the real story when we watch TV. It says based on a true story, but then you go back and read, they added their own little lines to it to give it more oomph when it doesn't need more oomph. That they wanted to get rich off of it, but they thought it was a way to make a prescription that would be less addictive, but it turned out to be more addictive. And now you can't get it anywhere, but yet you can get fentanyl on the corner.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's right, Jerry.
Yes. At V John. Yes. So it's weird and it's bizarre to me. And one more question for you, and then you answer this, and then we're going to go.
All right.
So people keep saying to me that the reason why, and I had another guy the other day say the reason why San Francisco is the way it is because I went to Arizona. And that was no longer here. holding people accountable. And this is not the first time I've heard this. This is not the 100th time. I've heard it about 100 times. People go, well, if you hadn't left, it wouldn't have got this way. What do you think?
I don't think one person has that much of effect. As much as I loved your work before and appreciate you now, I don't really think it's quite that. But what I think is amazing about your work, though, Stanley, is that people across the spectrum like it. I know people who are very associated with like BLM and really think we should incarcerate less people and other things, but they still respect your work. And I know that now there's this kind of whole, that side has this kind of push to vilify you, but when you first came back to the Bay Area and Twitter, there were people on there, oh, I love Stanley, he's great. And I think a lot of that vilification is just their desperation of, they don't want to see the truth. Like they have a vested interest in the truth not getting out there because that'll mess up their business plan.
It's weird. You're right, but I think
or their philosophy.
I think that what got me was when people were telling me that I wasn't from the Bay, so I should keep my mouth out of it. And I'm like, and they were from like Minnesota. They've been here for like a year and a half. They came from Minnesota, but I'm not supposed to be talking about the Bay because I'm not from the Bay.
Well, sometimes people will tell me, "Oh, you're not a native." I was like, "You're just like 19. I've lived here longer than you, even if I wasn't born here. So shut up."
All right. So my final note is that I meet people now that are like 21, 22, and they're like, oh, I watched you when I was a kid. Okay, if you see me, please don't tell me you watched me as a kid. It makes me feel really freaking old. I watched you when I was a kid. I'm like, well, how old are you? 21. But then I realized, okay, you were 10, so I get it.
Yeah.
But I went to a reporter in Philadelphia. He came out here and I go, oh, I watched you when I was a kid. And he was so pissed off that I said that because I was probably in my 30s when I said it. So it was like in my 20s. So he had been on TV for 20 years. John, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Hey, man. Yeah.
I'm glad we got the audio thing fixed. And just so you know, operator error. I figured it out while we were talking.
Oh, good.
There was
well, we had two errors because it was mine and yours both are broken. Right?
So I was pushing one button that was supposed to, I thought turn volume up, and I thought it was already up. But I'm 21. I watched you when I was a kid. Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. And don't say that. I just got finished saying don't say that. And the first thing you do is say that. You're fired.
He's watching you right now when he's a kid.
No, he's actually he's about to turn 21, right? When did you just turn 21 or you're about to turn 21? I want video of your first drink. That's going to be
colloquially, you're still a kid, but we like you anyway.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, everybody. Well, I'm a millennial and I'm a boomer.
So yeah. Neither of us are millennials. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're both boomers.
All right. Take care.
Oh, your mic went out.
I said, take care. I'm going to sign off.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Yep. Everybody, thank you for joining us. It was fun. We had a little bit of a guest here, and we got through the bugs. We had a little bit of fun. We appreciate it. Remember to go back on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, like it, share it to people, let people know we're here. And if you want to join, you can log in on Twitch. It's www.twitch.tv. And also on Friday, I'm going to be on the internet with Allison Morrow. We're going to do a little podcast and have a little chat back and forth. But I'm heading to Dreamforce for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'll be off the grid for a little bit, trying to learn some new stuff about the nonprofit. And just so you know, I do have a nonprofit. I just got verification from IRS that says that it's tax exempt. So if you want to donate, all your donations are 100% tax deductible. And so reach out to me if you want to donate something on a larger scale. And it's, again, you get a tax deduction for it. And I got some projects working on the week after next. So we're going to be really busy. But thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Good night. Of course, nothing wants to work, right? I want to log off, and I can't do it. There we go. That's it. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Millennial Boom with Diane Faith and Stanley Roberts. Millennial Boom and Reasons Why Aliens Will Never Invade Earth and Caught Misbehaving videos are made possible through viewer donations. Check out www.linktree.com/MrBadleyTV to see how you can help. See you next week.